Hi, my name is Nydia Han. I'm an anchor and the consumer investigative reporter for the ABC station in the Philadelphia market. Consumer news is a pretty big umbrella. Basically, I expose scams, I protect consumers and their pocketbooks, and I hold government agencies and businesses accountable. Thanks so much to the Consulate General of the Republic of Korea in New York, and also to President Judy Yoo of the Federation of Korean American Associations of Northeastern in USA. We really appreciate your putting on this online seminar about leadership for young Korean Americans. Hard work and persistence, that basically sums up my life. I always say I'm not actually really good at anything. I'm not really that smart, but I work really, really hard and I just keep trying and I don't take no for an answer. I've always loved writing, so my plan was to be a magazine journalist and to write long-form pieces for magazines. But then when I was in college, I did an internship at the ABC station in San Francisco, and I fell in love with the medium. I loved the moving pictures, the powerful sound married with information. I also really appreciated the immediacy. When I was an intern there, the station sent a crew to Rwanda, and they came back with these really powerful images, and they ended up raising tens of thousands of dollars from viewers to send back to Rwanda. And that is when I really realized the power of television news and that I really wanted to be part of the business. Unfortunately, while I thought this was a great idea, no one else seemed to think so. In fact, I had a professor who said, "Do you ever watch television news?" And I said, "Yes, I watch every night." And she said, "Well, then I highly suggest you switch majors because you're just not getting it." And so I thought about actually going back to print. And then the very next quarter, I had a professor named Rick Brown who said to me, "You know, you're not the best I've ever seen, but you're not the worst either. So stick it out a little bit longer." And I am so, so grateful that I did and that I listened to Professor Brown. I just talked to him actually the other day and expressed my gratitude to him for his encouragement and motivation to stay in the broadcast specialization, because I'm so glad that I am where I am today. And I still love the medium of television news, and I still am grateful for the opportunity that I have to meet new people, tell stories, and inform the community every single day. I always tell people who are considering going into television news, don't do it if you're doing it to make money or for the perceived glamour. Because the truth is, you're not going to make anything, especially when you're just starting out, and it is the least glamorous job ever, especially in the beginning. My first reporting job was in Pocatello, Idaho. I shot and edited all of my own work. I also drove the station vehicle around, and let me tell you, I wasn't used to driving in inclement weather, and so I crashed the station vehicle twice. Once in the snow and once during the rain. The station manager was not very happy with me, but I learned a lot. And so I always tell kids the thing that I learned from that first job was, while it was really hard, I'm glad for that experience because it definitely made me a better journalist, because I understand and can do the job of a photographer, an editor, and yes, even a driver. Giving up was really never an option for me. And I also tried to see the fun in the hard. And that's what I always suggest to people too, is understand that when things are really, really difficult, it's stretching you, it's building character, and these are the things that are really going to help you as you move on in the future. For me, the greatest success is not what my ratings are or how much money I make. It really is the impact I make on our community and on the world. When I think about being successful, I think about making my parents proud. I also think about doing really meaningful things that will last for generations to come, especially as I think about my own children. I am a tremendously proud Korean American. My parents always told me that to be American is to honor, embrace, and acknowledge the roots of our ancestors. And I really live that. You know, for so long, I was trying to be white, especially on the air and especially in this career. And what I've realized is by really being my authentic Korean American self, it really has opened up opportunity and really given me a confidence that I didn't have before. And that is the confidence to really be myself and bring myself to the world. I know it can be so hard, especially right now, to hold your head up high, to feel like you belong, to know that you belong. But let me tell you, as someone who has decades more experience than you do belong. And so I am really, really hoping that you can see the joy and the beauty in our diversity. You know, I have 2 kids. And I send them to Korean school every single Saturday for 3.5 hours so that they can learn not only the language, but what it means, right, to be Korean American. And I'm so glad and grateful that they too feel very much like Korean Americans, and they're embracing the Korean part of their identity. I also make sure they know our traditions and appreciate them. So one of my favorite Korean traditions is coming up, and that is doing sebae, or big bow, to your elders on New Year's Day. And not only do our kids do sebae to us, and I do sebae to my father, we also all make mandu, or Korean dumplings, together. And then we also have tteokguk together. So tteok is Korean rice cake, and guk is soup. So Korean rice cake soup. And that's a tradition that I love to continue here in our family. I have many role models. One is Philip Jason, or Seo Jae-pyo. He was a Korean American political activist. He was a champion for the Korean emancipation movement, and he was the founder of the first newspaper in Hangul, so a fellow journalist. I like that. I'm also a huge fan of David Chang. I'm reading his memoir right now, Eat a Peach, and his ability to be resilient and to push through, and his grit, I think, are really inspiring. When I think about leadership, one of the most important qualities is understanding the needs, desires, and wants of the people around you. And what does that mean? That means nunchi, which is a Korean word. So the literal translation is eye measure. Basically, what it means is you have the ability to measure with your eyes what someone else wants. So you have the power of observation, and you can meet people where they are. A family friend of ours, Nydia Han, wrote a book about nunchi. She calls it the Korean secret to happiness and success. And I couldn't agree more. So when you think about our Korean background and upbringing, it is things like nunchi and other qualities and characteristics that our ancestors have instilled in us that make us great leaders and future leaders. And so I hope that, when your parents are telling you to do certain things or to act a certain way, you can see that there is a lot of power in the things that they're telling you and the things that they're teaching you. On the other hand, I will also say that for me, a big characteristic of true leadership is innovation and flexibility. So while I do think we should learn from the people who came before us, I also think we, especially as Asian Americans, need to try to think outside of the box. And I also think we need to be louder. Louder, louder, louder. So say what's on your mind, say what you think, and do it with strength, with force, and know that you're worthy and that you are in a place wherever you are right now. You're there because you deserve to be there and you belong, and the sky's the limit for you. As a Korean American, if you want to be a leader, I think the things to really think about are to be strong, to take initiative, and to be innovative. Think outside of the box. Another piece of advice I have for Korean Americans is to be irreverent and to use the element of surprise. If people think you're going to be one thing, give them a little bit of something else. If you take anything away from this video, I hope it's this. Be proud of being Korean American and know that it is our unique experience that really helps us contribute to our country, which is America. Know that you belong and know that you are capable of doing anything.